Hi everyone, welcome back to the Finance Stroll. Today without a stroller, but with Anton, Golup, CEO of flovtec and multiple entrepreneur actually. He is co-founder of Trust Square in Zurich. And look, today he is going to talk about digital assets. And please, if you guys have questions afterwards, send them in. I'm sure that Anton will be happy to answer them as well.
Yes.
And yes, I just give over to you. I'm very curious to hear about flovtec as well. But I guess we start a little bit about digital assets. What are the difference to Bitcoin, so that people get a little bit of feeling what the differences are.
Yes. So first, thank you, Carolina, for inviting me. There is nothing more that I would like to do today in the morning than having a stroll with you. So it's really a pleasure, and I hope that the audience will enjoy the video as well. Yeah. So I will try to kind of start and saying a little bit about the topics that you mentioned today, and kind of thinking about digital assets and what are there. I will actually take a step back first and explain why maybe blockchain and Bitcoin are so special, and why is it we never had something similar before previously. Really try to start from the basics.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah. So kind of the way I try to explain to people is that blockchain and particularly Bitcoin were actually the first examples ever in history where you could actually send or move or exchange assets in a secure way over the internet. This is like a really basic explanation. And now usually I get the question, well, why didn't we manage to do that before? Like I could have sent emails over the internet before. So what did blockchain solve that the internet or email service couldn't do that? Like, why couldn't I send an asset via an email, and that it worked, And then kind of when you think about it, internet is very good at something, and that's actually copying information. So if I send a message to you and your audience, they all get the message and they all get their copies, right?
Yeah.
Which is great, right? This is what you want, right?
Yeah.
Copying and multiplying and sharing information. Now when you think about assets, digital assets, that's not the right thing that you want.
You wouldn't want them to be copied,
No,
right?
you don't want to send someone money.
And they get copied.
Exactly, and then
unless it goes into your own account.
Then you're a bit happier, but kind of like copying assets or copying something of value doesn't make sense. It turns out we couldn't solve that problem before with an email or other solutions. And blockchain was the first technology ever where you can send an asset, a digital asset, to someone else and be sure that there's only one unique digital asset and that nobody can copy it. This is pretty much why the blockchain is so special, And Bitcoin was the first prototype or the first digital assets that was actually used in that way. Kind of the first time you could actually send an asset back and forth or exchange it, and that you're not able to copy it, was actually Bitcoin. Like really, if I kind of try to take a step back and reflect on it.
No, makes sense. It's great to better understand it, because there's so people are talking so much about it, but no one really understands exactly what is going on and why it's such a revolution, right? And these are one of the points that makes it so interesting.
Yes, exactly. And I will just, when you talking about interesting, I really found your last stroll with Pascal very interesting, is because he mentioned something several times, something very important that people need to understand. Is blockchain was additionally unique in it that it's decentralized.
Yes.
So you can have a solution where you can actually send assets. I mean, we do that in the banking system. You send money in between people, and kind of we make sure that everything in the back works. But the problem is you have central points of failure, central entities that are source of risks, and if they go down, the whole system goes down. And blockchain and Bitcoin as an asset on top of it was unique in the sense that it was decentralized, meaning that everybody can join and be part of this community that maintains the network and makes sure that the assets are sent in a unique way, safe and secure. And there is no...
It's like a table with 100 legs, right?
Exactly.
If you knock down one leg, the table is still there. Nothing happens. It's still stable.
Exactly. And I really love your analogy. And kind of what's really amazing from my personal values, that everybody can become a leg in that chair. So maybe you're not the most important leg on that table, sorry, not on chair, on that table, but you can actually become the leg of that table, and support it, right? So this is actually pretty much what it is, what the blockchain is, why it's so special. And kind of, I will go back now. Internet, when it started, it had its first website, right? And most of the people, I don't know if you know it, but internet was invented in CERN in Geneva, in Switzerland,
Okay,
actually.
no, I actually didn't know that.
And if you actually Google first website ever, it was just actually a website saying, you know, this is the internet, welcome, and it was done by a team from CERN. That was
I
actually
didn't know that. That's amazing.
that was the first website ever. It's not
wow, in Switzerland.
yeah, in Switzerland. Was not the biggest success story, that particular website, but you know, that's how it started.
But
now,
it makes history. So
it definitely it was, you know, it's humble at beginnings, but that was the first, when something was on the internet, that was the first thing actually that how it worked. Now, if you go back to the blockchain, the first asset ever that we could move safely and securely was Bitcoin actually. And it kind of emerged from that network, from the blockchain. So, but then if you think about it, internet has hundreds of millions of websites. Blockchain will have hundreds of millions of assets, digital assets. So kind of, if I have to say what is a digital asset, it's just something of value that's placed on the blockchain and it's moved in a safe and secure way with a lot of people and entities. They make sure that it works in a safe and secure way. But that's basically what that digital assets are. Just kind of think of them, things on top of the blockchain.
But for example, one digital asset is Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And if there is another digital asset, it's not built on the blockchain of Bitcoin. They built their own blockchain, right? They have like, it's the same technology with their own blockchain behind it.
Exactly. And you, in that context, you can have many different blockchains that have many different assets, but kind of for the end user, maybe they don't care too much what kind of blockchain is in the back. They just want to make sure that it works and you can exchange and send those digital assets, and it's all done in a safe and secure way.
Could you just mention a little bit or explain a little bit what about the how fast these transactions can happen, right? Because this is something that the blockchain also it's a big difference to the current financial system, right?
Yes, exactly. So let's say it like this: the current financial system is quite slow and it operates in daily cycles. And hidden behind the public view, there's actually a lot of pieces and intermediaries in place that result in transactions. Even though you think they occur instantly, in the back they're processed after several days. You know, so actually, effectively how long it takes to move digital assets in the traditional finance world is actually multi-day. Let's say it like that. Now, moving on to blockchain and Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum and other digital assets.
Sorry, we just have.
We have some donkeys here.
Yeah, there are some donkeys.
So, moving digital assets through blockchain, many different blockchains, is actually quite fast. So if I kind of reflect on the blockchain of Bitcoin, within a couple of minutes you can actually do your transaction, or you can send an asset. You have obviously faster blockchains. You know, for instance, Ethereum is a lot faster. It takes
faster than Bitcoin.
Faster than the blockchain of Bitcoin, definitely. And it takes a few seconds actually to move an asset. So this is kind of normal sides of the spectrum, but you have even things that are extremely fast, where in a couple of milliseconds you can send an asset. You know, which is obviously a big improvement than a couple of days.
Of course, It's a huge difference.
Yes.